What's going on, everybody? Daryl Andrews here, Coach D. Normally I do these midday in the morning, but I decided I wanted to do one at night to talk about a subject and this is really a byproduct of a conversation I had with a training group earlier today, where you can kind of see with the individuals they had a stressed out. It was really they were stressed out, man. There was a lot going on within their organization, and you can see the weight of what's taking place at their organization. And so I just started saying to them, one thing we really need to do is we got to take care of ourselves. And I think you've heard me say this before on my lives, like we take care of valuable things. Like we'll take care of a car, we'll take care of a swimming pool, we'll take care of anything, our kids, but we don't often take care of ourselves. And so one thing I shared with this group is that it's so important to put together a strategy for self-care. All right. Because the average person will never take self-care seriously because we're just not wired to. Okay. And so that's what made me start to really push this whole message of it, self-care, because I started to realize with my customers and sometimes even my peers, you know, coming from off the pandemic, it's just been a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress and things of that nature. And you start saying, man, you know, the reality is if we don't start to increase in our own personal wellness, I just wonder what that's going to do to our climate and culture, overall, in our nation, in our cities, in our communities. We're already seeing acts of violence and things like that from people who have just basically lost it almost. Now, I'm not trying to clump everybody into that category because that's a whole nother category. But the reality is that we need to make ourselves a priority. And one of the things that I recommend is to find a happy place. And earlier today on LinkedIn, not too long ago, I showed one of mine here where we reside. And I like to go to this spot, man, just to decompress, like to get it all out. Y'all know I go to the gym every day. That's why at this age I still got guns. Look at those puppies right there, right? but but beyond that, sometimes just go to decompress, read a book, drink a cup of coffee, have a cup of tea, and just let it out. Because this is what happens, I believe. And matter of fact, I don't believe, I know, because I've looked at all the research. When we don't let it out, let's just say have a place where we can go, or if we don't work out or anything like that, what happens is you have this thing called stress compounding. And stress compounding is simply compounded stress. So the stress you had in you is in you, and then you're adding more stress on top of that. And that's when people start to implode. And so one thing that can help is a happy place. My wife and I take walks, and we have the greatest conversations. There's a little lake near where we live, and we do it in the morning, and we just talk about any and everything. And it's so relaxing, man. And I know everybody can't do what I do living where I live. So I don't expect if you live in Minnesota and it's 5 degrees out, you're going to take a walk into the lake. But there could be other things that you can do. And so, one thing we've been talking about with our thing in our whole self-care empowerment movement, I'll put some information up here for y'all to see what that's all about. Share this with your organizations. Hey, that's not what I want you to get. That is that's like wrong there. Let's see if we can get this back up. And share this with your organizations, share this with your leaders, because we are doing self-care development with a lot of organizations now. Why is this not pasting? Okay. There it is. A lot of organizations, we're helping them build these systems, because what we realize is that if you don't build a system, you never do it. Like for me, I don't have to even turn my alarm on. I don't have to have Alexa wake me up at 5:30. I'm up, I'm going to the gym. Why? Because it's a system. At the end of the night, I'm walking around in my happy place and spending time with family. Why? It's a system. And so here's why you need to have systems when it comes to this, because the reality is if you don't have a system, you won't make it a priority. And what systems do is systems take away thinking about it. So I don't need anything. I talked to my man Pierre Campbell a little earlier. Every time we reach out to each other in the morning, he in the gym, I'm in the gym. Mondo Davis, he in the gym, I'm in the gym. Because For us, all right, it's not even we don't even think about it no more. Matter of fact, Mondo gets up at like 4 o'clock. He earlier than I am in that gym with his wonderful wife, Lisa. They're getting it in because they understand, you know. And so I'm going to say to you, sometimes we go into these workplaces, there's nothing but stress. Sometimes we come into our homes, there's stress. There's so much going on around us that if we would take the time to make self-care a priority, what will happen is you find that stress decreasing. That stress starts to decrease. And what happens is now, those endorphins and the adrenaline and all the things you need in order to live a life of wellness start to kick in. People say to me, man, how at your age you still got all this energy? I said, because I take care of myself, man. You know what I mean? I don't know what it means to get old and get, crotchety and get in a rocking chair. And I don't think that's in my DNA, man. One of my mentors is from afar is Ernestine Shepherd. And may not know who she is, but she's the oldest female bodybuilder at 87 years old. That woman's still doing training classes. So that's going to be me. Because I realized that I'm not just doing it for me, just so I can sit here and talk about it. I'm doing it for my children. I'm doing it for my wife. I'm doing it for my family. So that the more I take care of myself, the less they have to. Write that down as a note. The more I take care of myself, the less they have to. Other words, we don't take care of ourselves. And then guess what? Later on in life, we become a liability to other people. And so we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that to our children. We don't want to do that to our families. How you doing? We don't want to do that to in a workplace. We don't do it anywhere. And so take this whole thing of self-care, find a happy place, get your regimens in place. You got to be careful what you eat because too many sugars and sweets can impact your mood. All that stuff is, man, I'm telling you, you got to have a plan and you got to work that plan because reality, when it's all said and done, you're the one that's better off as a result of doing it. So got a meeting I got to run into. Just want to drop a quick thing about Happy Place. I love my Happy Place. It's palm trees, it's swimming pool, it's fireplace outside and just chill. And then sometimes just walking around, going by a lake, doing things like that. And then when I come back, I'm feeling better. I'm feeling the distress is off, the decompress. I'm totally decompressed. You can go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? And then what we can do then is we can wake up and we can make the next day better because guess what? When we talked earlier about stress compounding, that stress from today does not carry over to tomorrow. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate you jumping on. And like she said, you're speaking facts. There's no doubt about it. You're speaking facts because the reality is this body is a machine. And so is this mind. And you think about when you work for a company, if you like a mechanic, you're fixing those things. You're working on those things. You're trying to get them back aligned so that they can work properly. And so, but how do we do that with ourselves? How do we get our bodies to align, get our minds to calibrate? It's called taking care of ourselves. We're not taking it to a mechanic so they can take some and tighten up our screws, but we can go and walk around and get the stress off of us. We can, find something that we love to do and do it as frequently as we possibly can. We can have a happy place that we can go and just relax and get the stress off of us. See, this is taking care of yourself. And so that Self-Care Empowered is our website. We have been doing a lot of training in this arena. I love it because I'm literally watching people change right before my eyes. I got to tell you a funny story and I got to go, but I did some training for an organization and then I ran into a bunch of the people who had participated in the training at a conference, a national conference. And so it was funny because one of the ladies walked up to me and said how much the training changed her life. But then she also said it also got me in trouble. I said, well, how did the training get you in trouble? Because she said, Coach, you said the bedroom is called the bedroom for a reason. It's designed for sleep. I said, yeah, I did say that. And she said, so I told my husband that, and I said, I'm taking the television out of the bedroom because this is not the living room. I told her that too. I see people have made the bedroom, the living room, the dining room, all of the stuff is a place to go to sleep. So that's why we wake up tired because we're not sleeping. We're doing everything else in the bedroom. And she said, my husband said, don't you dare touch that television set. She said, Mo, that Coach D guy said, listen, don't get me in trouble now. Don't get me in trouble with your husband. But she just had me laughing about it. And she said they worked out an amicable agreement, and so it's fine. She said because when she go to bed, she just want to go to bed now because she understands that sleep is important for balance, stability, fighting disease, and everything else. So anyway, take a look at our self-care empowered. If we can ever help your organization, please let us know, because the reality is working with a lot of your peers. It's pretty much 80-90% virtual. We do some live within certain areas. I don't like flying all over the country anymore. I did that for 18 years, not doing it again. But we do a lot of virtual work, and it's been phenomenal to see how organizations and individuals have been transformed. So Lisa, thank you for your comments. Thank you all who have been watching, and I got a meeting I need to jump into. Be blessed. Take care.